What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Garage Talk Sports. I'm Mills.
I'm Bobby.
And we are in the garage again. Unfortunately, Nick, feeling under the weather, lost his voice, so you don't get to hear the sweet, buttery sound that is Nick talking to us about sports.
Screaming at the Bulls game.
Most likely. Yeah. Bulls were a total joke last night. But so he's not here. It's just going to be the Mills and Bobby show today. We also had to take down the lamp. Just figured easier to use this table with this setup, just the two of us. It'll be back, though. Don't worry, guys. We know you like the decor. So we'll bring that one back. But we got a good episode for you guys. Not a ton to talk about, so this will most likely be a little bit shorter of an episode, but that's not a problem. We kind of ramble, so it'll be nice to work on that here.
And hone in.
Yeah. So as always, we start with our hot spots, but we're going to pretty much talk NFL Combine because that's what's been going on. And then we are going to give our first little dive into Bears draft strategy. We're still 2 months out, basically, from the draft.
A lot could happen.
It's still early, but kind of felt like it was a good time to touch on it. Now that the Combine happened, we can talk some possible changes to the plan that the Bears may have had and how, looking at the Combine results and everything, how our outlook on the draft strategy has changed as well. So, like I said, though, we will start with our hot spots. Bobby, you and I we're talking the same sport in our hot spots. I'll let you go first, though, and then I'll just kind of feed off of it.
MLB season's almost here, and it's exciting, especially as a Cubs fan. We have a lot of big signings. Dansby Swanson, Cody Bellinger, Eric Hosmer. Yes, I know he's old.
I'm not the big.
Hey,
you needed a first baseman. You needed a first baseman.
You know? And then we got Trey Mancini, James Taillon.
Taillon. Yeah,
I'm always going to say it. Don't worry out.
This guy. No, there's.
So it's like.
They were more aggressive this offseason than in the past.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's exciting if you're a Cubs fan because there's a lot of new players to the team that are like not just scrap players. Like you made a big signing in Dan's baby. James Taillon. I just said Taillon, however you say it. You got me saying it out.
I got you saying.
He's a solid starting pitcher. Cody Bellinger, if he can return to form, would be awesome for you guys.
Awesome. It would be huge.
Eric Hosmer's been around. He's a reliable first baseman. I'm not calling him a franchise-changing first baseman at this point in his career, but he's still pretty solid.
Guess where we got your boy playing at?
Where?
Third base.
Third base?
Yeah, Nick Madrigal's playing third base.
He's going to play third base?
Yeah, I do. Patrick Wisdom's hurt right now, so
I don't know if interesting. He's small for third base, dude. He's small. Really, they're gonna put him at third base?
I mean, we really don't have anyone else. I guess
you can't throw Nico Horner there.
Yeah, but Nico Horner's. I don't know. You could. I feel like you could.
I don't know. I wouldn't put. I got nothing against Madrigal. I just. His defense hasn't been what everyone said it was going to be coming out of college. Like, he hasn't been as sure. I mean, he's still solid, but he hasn't been as sure-handed. He doesn't have a very strong arm, so I don't like him at third base. Yeah. I feel like you're better off trying Dansby Swanson there for the time being or Nico Horner, and Madrigal can play second. That's his natural position.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You have two better players who should be playing the harder position of the two than him. But whatever, it's spring training. That's the time to figure out if he can do it, I guess. Yeah. So it's still early,
and that's a good position to be in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you got so many like pretty decent mid infielders that I'm excited. I'm excited for the season.
We'll see how they do. I hope the Sox bounce back from what was a really weird season last year for them.
Yeah, it's like
we'll see. My expectations are super low. But building off of yours, my hotspot's also MLB. More so the rule changes. So now that we're in spring training, so we get to see the new rule changes, like the shift being gone, the pitch clock.
Weird. Pitch clock's weird, man.
I like both of them. You know how I felt about the shift. I felt the shift was there's already a massive advantage in favor of the pitcher and defense in baseball.
Yeah,
adding the shift, just like everyone says, oh, you're a pro hitter, you should be able to hit against it. Sure, in theory, yes, but it's not as simple as that. And so I liked getting rid of the shift and kind of taking what was an already massive advantage that the pitchers and defense know, because they know what pitch they're throwing.
Yeah,
the batter has to guess. They have to, in like a split second, they have to kind of see the right pitch, and then they have to put bat on ball, and then they have to push it instead. So I like getting rid of it.
Unless you're the Astros.
Well, yeah, then you know too. But I've been a fan of getting rid of the shift, so that's changed. And then the pitch clock, I like that as well.
It's just weird because like So if the pitch clock's about to expire and you're not ready to take the pitch when the pitcher's in his windup,
You get a strike.
you get a strike.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, if the pitcher doesn't throw the ball by
It's
the
a
time,
ball.
it's a ball. It's just really weird. I feel like this season's going to be you're going to see that happen a lot.
So
because
far
it's not-
from spring training, what they've noticed is the average length of games has gone down by about 23 minutes, and scoring and batting average has gone up.
Oh, okay. Hey.
So the way it works, the batter has to be set in the box by the 8-second mark in the pitch clock. I forget how much. I think they get 30 seconds?
I think it's like 20. I think it might be 25.
25. That might be right. I don't
remember.
remember the exact one, but they have until the 8-second mark to be set and ready to receive the pitch.
Yeah.
So if they're not, they get assessed. They get a strike, and so that's how that works. And then the pitcher obviously has to pitch it before the time expires.
Yeah.
So that I like the move. I
guess
baseball has had a problem with pace of play, and that's what's been causing them to lose a lot of younger fans. And so that's a change that while people, the traditionalists might not like it, at some point you have to acknowledge that your sport is dying.
Yeah, you got
you have so much young, exciting talent in baseball, but if you cannot bring in young fans and the people, our demographic, right, the 18 to 34-year-olds, if you can't bring in those people, your sport will eventually die because they're not going to be interested when they're older.
Yeah,
right. So you need to do something. You need to make games quicker. So I like the move. Dude, sitting at a baseball game for 6 hours, 5 hours. I was at a Sox game a few years ago. I was there for 3 hours. It was the 7th inning. I left. We left. It was brutal.
Yeah.
3 hours and you still have the entire 7th, 8th, and 9th inning to go. It's just that's not fun.
Yeah. No,
at some point that stops being fun and you just kind of want to get out of there. So if they can speed up the pace, that's a good thing. Get on board. All you old timers and old heads that are complaining about it, move on, adapt. The future is now. Okay.
There's going to be changes. Every sport goes through changes.
You have to understand that things change for the sake of the game, and it'll make the game better and more entertaining. That's how I stand on it.
Yeah.
But
and they've been trying it out in minor leagues, so it's not like this is
this is
sprung out of
they're
nowhere.
implementing it because it's worked for them in every phase they've tested it in.
Yeah.
It's just like the pitch comp thing where the catcher can press a button. They tried that in minor leagues instead of giving signs. So it's all
that's been kind of cool.
Yeah, it's this is all good for the game. It's to keep it alive and keep young fans interested, which they desperately need because they have the oldest average viewership of it's 57 and a half years old is the average age of an MLB fan.
Oh wow.
Or person who TV viewer.
Well,
that's the average age. Golf is younger. Golf is 51 and some change. So they need to get younger. You can't be younger. You can't be older than golf. I like golf. I can watch golf. I'm not saying
that's one for
I'm not saying I'm not bashing golf. The point though is if your sport, which is supposed to be more exciting than golf, can't get a younger average viewership than golf is a problem.
Yeah,
that's not good. So they got to work on that. So I like the changes, but that's pretty much it. And then when spring training wraps up, we will do what we did last year, our way too early predictions for the season, where we'll predict division winners, MVP, and Cy Young, I think is what we said we would do. That's what and then rookie of the year, I think we did rookie of the year, but that's a tough one to predict for
it really is
for a sport like baseball.
But
we'll give it a shot. But that's what we did last year.
Nick was right. Yeah, Nick did.
Nick did. He said Julio, I think, for his.
That was a shot in the dark, and it really worked out for him.
Yeah, it worked out for him well. But so we'll do all of that like we did last year, and then we'll probably give our predicted World Series matchup as well. Yeah. So stay tuned. We have a lot of spring training to go before we get to that point, but we will revisit that conversation when it's wrapping up.
Probably hit March Madness and then
March Madness is coming up. So that's going to be a lot of our focus for the month of March, as well as probably just keeping up with some other odds and ends of football and baseball. But that moves us then to the NFL Combine. So that just happened this past week.
Yeah, it did.
So a lot of impressive showings there. The guy I wanted to highlight was Georgia edge rusher Nolan Smith. Insane. Number one, he ran a 4.39 40-yard dash. I don't remember what his vertical was, but he ran the fastest 40, had the highest vertical, broad jump, and fastest 3-cone drill among all edge rushers. He just tore it up. Definitely played himself from what may have been a late first round pick. I honestly think he played himself into like the top 15, possibly top 10.
No, I definitely
because we know how teams fall in love with those measurables, especially at edge. 6'2", he's 6'2", 240 something pounds, running a sub 440.
Yeah, that's
a sub 440. That's impressive.
That's very impressive.
So I think there's going to be teams that fell in love with that.
Yeah,
Just like Trayvon Walker, his measurables is what put him at the number 1 overall pick last year. I'm not saying that Nolan Smith's going to go number 1, but he definitely went from late first round, early second to early to mid first, earlier first round.
Teams love just getting like
a freak,
athletic talent.
You can't coach you can't coach speed.
Yep.
That's one thing you cannot do. Like you can't coach speed and athleticism. Like you can improve it, but you need someone who's like got the natural ability as well. And he showed out, man. He really did show out. He's my highlight of the combine this year.
Yeah, I think you gotta give it to him. Like I don't think any other edge rusher is beating that. But there is a lot of good edge rushers in this draft class. So it'll be interesting to see if I have a mid first round pick, I think I would take the gamble and go with him. You know?
Yeah, it was a good showing for edge rushers, really. They all kind of showed out really well. It may make some teams more comfortable not being able to get the guy they originally wanted. But the big talk of this draft really is the quarterback room, right?
Yeah.
So we got Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and I guess Will Levis is the number 3 in that, which is just ridiculous. But
it's like Mac Jones, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't buy in. Like,
except Mac Jones looked good in college. Will Levis didn't. I don't understand the Will Levis stuff. I really can't wrap my head around it. I guess that's why I don't work for ESPN, but you guys are wrong more than I am, I feel. So
I would compare him to Paxton Lynch. You know what I mean? Like,
boy, brutal.
He's just a big guy. He's got big hands. He's a big guy. You know, he
throws a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, he's got a strong arm. So it's like I don't know. I don't get why they value that so much to the point where they overlook these these terrible things that I can't overlook that.
At the end of the day, I like what Dan Campbell said when he was asked about how they're going to evaluate players in the combine. And he said, it's all about what you see on tape. It's great to see guys show out when they're wearing pajamas, but how do they look full speed in pads against actual competition, not just throwing to a guy who's running a route that you know he's running the route, you know everything, like it's all coordinated in the combine. Measurables are important, but it's not everything.
Yeah.
To me, there's really not much on tape with Will Levis that makes me go, this is a franchise quarterback. And I'm not trying to slam the guy, but he has a turnover problem. He hasn't looked good. He didn't really look good against top talent in college.
Yeah.
If you can't look good against top talent in college, it'll be difficult for you to look good in the NFL. I'm not saying you can't do it, but like guys who didn't necessarily look great against top talent in college, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, they still had crazy statistics though.
Yeah.
This guy's average. Like he's mediocre.
Yeah, like he's not throwing
he's not tearing apart bad teams, right? He's not. I don't understand the hype for this guy. Personally, I'd be looking at Hendon Hooker before I'd be looking at him.
No, I agree. I like Hendon Hooker a lot.
And I'm not saying Hendon Hooker should be a top 5 pick. I'm saying Will Levis should be more in the late stages of the first round kind of. That's where he should be in my evaluation of him. But, you know, I don't get paid millions of dollars to be wrong like these guys at ESPN. Cough, Mel Kiper's Jr.
I mean, that man.
But whatever.
He's like a weatherman. He gets paid so much money to be wrong.
So like there's some interesting quarterbacks in this draft. We all know who your big 2 are. I'm not going to say big 3 because Will Levis, even though he's considered to be one of the top 3, I don't like it. But Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, probably in that order, is how they will get drafted. 1B. But I do know Bryce Young is very small. He's 5'10" and a quarter or something like that. Yeah. He's not a big dude. So his height and size might ultimately deter teams from going for him first overall, which might pave the way for CJ Stroud to be number 1 overall. I still think, though, that Bryce Young will go first. At least first quarterback taken. I'm not going to predict him first overall. Well, actually, I'm going to, but he'll be the first quarterback off the board, in my opinion.
Not by the Bears, though.
Not by the Bears.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked. But whatever. If they did, they did. There's nothing we could do about it. I wouldn't be thrilled, though.
True.
I have a Justin Fields jersey. That would suck.
That would really suck. Also, I think I would probably not be as big of a fan of the Bears if they did that.
I still would. I'd have to root for them. I'd have to give it a shot. Just because I did make all those jokes that they were tanking for Bryce Young all season. And then they're actually in position where they could just take Bryce Young. But remember how many times I was sending that into our group chat? Every time they looked bad, I'm like, tank for Bryce Young. The tanking for Young.
Hey,
and here we are.
The Dolphins tanked for Tua.
Here we are actually in play for Bryce Young. Not that I think they're going to do it. But there's some other quarterbacks, the fringe quarterbacks is what I'm going to call them. Hendon Hooker, already mentioned him. Anthony Richardson from Florida has been getting a lot of love lately. Yep. And then no one wants to accept it, but Stetson Bennett is a fringe quarterback.
Yep.
Maybe not a fringe first-round quarterback, but he is a quarterback that teams will look at.
Also,
whether we want to admit it or not, teams are going to look at Stetson Bennett.
They are, but also I feel like DTR is being slept on. He's being very slept on. I like DTR. Don't get me wrong. As a late-round pick. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, UCLA.
Oh, dude, I've never heard him refer to as DTR.
Yeah,
I don't follow UCLA football.
Oh, well, dude, watch it highlights. He's pretty good.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not thinking, I'm saying this is like a late day 2 guy. But people are overlooking him. This draft class is deep, at quarterback. So I don't get why Will Levis is getting such high praise. And then Anthony Richardson, I mean,
the thing. So I've watched some tape on Richardson because he's been showing up on my TikTok nonstop, and he's like in every social media I go on. It's a new article about him.
He's the talk of the town.
It's what people like about him, and I see it on film after it, reading and seeing it pointed out. He has really good pocket presence. He moves around. He handles pressure really well. He's a project quarterback, right? Like he's probably going to need a year or two of development. But what he has that you want to see in a quarterback is the ability to move in the pocket and not just panic and run. And that's what he's done. That's what he does. Yep. And when you watch the tape on him, it is actually very impressive how smooth he is with it. Now his arm, his accuracy needs to get better, right? His footwork needs to get better. He really reads deep. He goes through his progressions pretty well too. He's got the mental makeup that you like. You have to work on you have to refine more of the motor skills of his game. So you have to get his arm accuracy and his throwing motion to be a little bit more efficient. You need to get his footwork to be better. But in terms of what he does mentally and how he navigates the pocket and feels pressure, that's what's getting him all this praise right now.
And his athletic ability.
Yeah, he's also a freak athlete too. So when you couple those things together, the hype makes sense when you think, what's the hardest thing for a quarterback to adjust to at the NFL level? It's all mental.
Yeah, reading a
defense, handling pressure, knowing when to step up and how to navigate the pocket. Those are the awareness, if you will.
Yeah.
That's that's the hardest stuff to develop in a guy. And that's usually what keeps guys from being good or not, is if they have that ability to generate their build up their awareness. Yeah. If he's already showing signs of having really good awareness in the pocket, yeah, you're gonna gravitate towards that because you're gonna tell yourself, well, we can work on his throwing motion, we can get his footwork in order, we can help him out with all that stuff. The stuff that's harder to develop in a guy he already has. That's the whole thing there. Yeah. But obviously, it's different when you get to the NFL level. It's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
So he could show all that in college and then get to the NFL and look like a deer in headlights.
Yeah,
but that's the reason for him. So I get it. I get why he's the talk. Right now.
I get it. But right now, there's so much smoke. You don't really know.
It's early in the draft.
Just think about Malik Willis, man. Everyone, there was people saying he was the first quarterback off the board. It doesn't go till the third round.
Not me.
Well, yeah.
No, I know.
But it's
a lot of it's a lot of smoke
right now, dude. And it does kind of suck.
We're at
for Bears fans because Jalen Carter, all that stuff coming out.
I think it'll be okay though. Yeah, here's the thing, dude. I don't like that Jalen. He drag raced. He was speeding, right? If all that happens, if that whole accident never happens with the other car, one, they never got pulled over, right? It's because that accident happened that now we know Jalen Carter was drag racing on the street. So, but let's say a cop was there and caught them. You know what it is? It's misdemeanor. It's a speeding charge. You're not getting a felony.
Yeah.
You're getting, it's a slap on the wrist, probably going to pay a ticket. and you move on, and we're not even talking about it. He's 21 years old? How old is he exactly?
I believe 21.
I'll look it up.
It could be 20. But regardless, yes, I get it. Shouldn't have done it.
He's 21.
Yeah.
Really, he's a 21-year-old kid. You've never sped. You've never like been driving with your friends and just kind of like see who can go a little faster, right? You've never done it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, everyone's done it.
Exactly. That's my point. But just because a car, like I don't like trying to attach the death and car accident to Jalen Carter as if he's responsible for it. He's not.
Yeah, I get that, but also it's gonna hurt your draft stock. I mean, you're number one pick. You shouldn't. You know what I mean? You shouldn't put yourself in that position. And we'll see what happens. I mean,
yeah, if I was a GM, I'm not freaking out about it because
yeah, but I'm also like, would you want to risk your number one overall pick or number 2 or number 3 or top 5
on what? He's not a criminal.
Yeah, but
on a guy who was speeding. You're not risking it on anything. He didn't kill anyone. He didn't hand a gun to anyone to go kill his girlfriend like a certain basketball player did.
Yeah, that's true.
All he did was speed with his friend in the other car. The other car lost control. I don't agree with trying to attach it to Jalen Carter as if he is somehow now responsible for it. That's the problem.
I'm not saying
there's nothing there.
It, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, he shouldn't be doing it.
He sped a car.
Yeah, but if I'm a number one overall prospect, I don't be putting yourself in that position.
Sure, it
was stupid.
Yeah, you would have gotten a speeding ticket. I got a speeding ticket like 2 weeks ago. So it just
now I understand why.
No, my point. My point though is like
everywhere he goes.
I just don't like the idea of we're gonna try and pick apart his character because he was speeding. There have been guys who have done so much worse and got nothing for it. But because he was speeding his car, it's not his fault the other car lost control. Yeah, yes, Jalen Carter made a bad decision. That doesn't mean he's a bad person. We're saying a bad decision. Usually when we're having this conversation, we're talking about Jameis Winston when he robbed like hundreds of dollars of crab legs from a grocery store. That was a bad decision. Yeah. That was worse than speeding.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't like it. It just bothers me. It's like we're trying to pick this kid apart. Coincidentally, when he's going to take the podium and start talking to GMs is when this all comes out. Gee, I wonder if there's a team out there who's kind of pushing this a little more. And shame on you, ESPN, for all your misleading headlines talking about warrant for Jalen Carter's arrest for felony charge attached to death of whatever from Georgia. Like, fuck you, okay?
Yeah, I mean,
he sped his car. Let's not make it bigger than it is. I'm not trying to take away from the other accident.
It was a tragic accident.
And it wasn't Jalen Carter's fault. Simple as that.
No, I wouldn't put the blame on him, but
he sped his car. At the end of the day, what would have happened if they got caught by a cop and there was no accident? He would have gotten a speeding ticket. End of story.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's it. That's all it is. Either way, though, good day for edge rushers.
Yeah, very good day.
I think Jalen Carter will be fine. I still think he'll go top 5. Personally, I think he's got too much talent to not.
I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say. He might fall, but
I don't think he's going to fall very far. He's not. He's certainly not falling out of the top 10.
Yeah, I mean,
he's not falling out of the top 10.
Mike Parsons did.
Yeah, well, tough. I don't think Jalen Carter's falling out of the top 10.
Micah Parsons was like hazing.
Micah Parsons did worse. He didn't just speed. He didn't just speed his car. Jalen Carter, he will be fine. It'll be interesting though. It's still, like you said, Bob, it's a lot of smoke in this draft.
Yeah,
way too early to say what's actually going to happen. Probably a lot of teams pushing stories out there to try and throw off the draft plans of other teams, especially teams that need a quarterback. Like we said, Anthony Richardson is the top guy getting all the talk. Hendon Hooker hasn't been getting a ton actually, but I liked Hendon Hooker this past season. I thought he was a Heisman candidate. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL, so that will hurt him.
Yeah,
a torn ACL is going to hurt your draft stock no matter what. But if he falls and he's around the 3rd round, I would take him, let him recover. You can get he looked solid. He has stuff to work on as well, but I like Hendon Hooker as a potential project quarterback for a team that's not urgently needing a young guy right now, but would like to have someone when their current quarterback gets a little bit older in age and can no longer be your guy, you know?
No, I agree.
Like, if you're like the Broncos and you realize Russell Wilson sucks total ass next year. But what do I know? No, they're stuck with him.
Yeah, they pretty much are. But it doesn't look like Sean Payton's going to put up with any of his bull crap.
No, he said team 3 or whatever is not allowed, right?
Not allowed in the building. And,
good.
So
bring that man down to earth.
Russell Wilson like has his own like office type deal. Like,
oh really?
Away from with like the executives and everything. Gone.
Good.
Gone.
You're a player, Russ. You're a player.
Exactly.
You are a player. You're not a GM.
And you're not right now. You're not a good one.
Yeah, you're not a good. Right, you're not a good one.
You don't deserve that,
dude. You aren't worth your contract that you just got. Right? If Russell Wilson has another year like he did this season next year, dude, I will be willing to say undoubtedly that Pete Carroll was the reason for his success.
Oh yeah, I 100% will say that. Like.
Russ got so focused on building his brand and everything that it might be what ends up costing him his brand.
Like,
his legacy can change forever if he sucks here.
Like, I don't get it. I was watching something where the guy was talking about like how like Russell Wilson's like mindset, and he like has this mindset where like no negative thoughts. Like
he's a weird
that
dude.
Man has no negative thoughts in his brain at all.
He's a weird guy.
Like so it's just like what is going through his mind? Like, you know what
I don't know.
Like,
he's a weirdo, man. He's Mr. Very limited. Mr. Very, very limited because he's very limited right now. He's not very good. Is what he is.
Not good at all. And you know what? I don't think you could put all that blame on Nathaniel Hackett.
No, at the end of the day, your quarterback sucked ass last year.
Yeah, and when Nathaniel Hackett got fired, there wasn't much improvement.
Yeah. Nathaniel Hackett he was a bad coach to begin with. Don't get me wrong. He was a bad. I don't disagree with him getting fired. If Sean Payton can't turn it around though, I think you start looking at Sean Payton's had a lot of success with various quarterbacks whenever Drew Brees was injured.
Yeah.
The Saints were still decent enough, right? With Teddy Bridgewater for a little bit. Jameis Winston looked good there.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe you got to look and say, maybe it's what was his contract? What was it?
It was like $256 million.
$250 million quarterback really seems to suck a lot of ass lately. Yep. Maybe we start looking at that dude and how he's not what he was in his prime. I don't mean to slam on Russell Wilson so hard, but it's just hilarious how you had to get out of Seattle because you needed to make your own legacy and really like cement yourself as a great quarterback.
And you know what? Pete Carroll was your legacy.
Yeah, and so far in season 1, away from all of it, your legacy is that maybe you weren't very good.
And Geno Smith passing yards.
Yeah, I don't want to speak ill of Russell Wilson, but it was funny for me. It was comical.
It was.
It was a fun storyline for the dude to barely throw more touchdowns than bathrooms in his house in 17 games is a fun storyline, and for that team to have to give up their. What is it? The 5th overall pick?
Yep.
They would have 5th overall, and that gets to go to Seattle that made the wild card.
Yeah, to a team that made the playoffs.
Yeah. Remember how we talked about how Seattle lost on that one?
Yeah, we really did.
And we couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah, Seattle is that may be like the biggest steal. Like,
yeah, I'm curious to see what Seattle does in the draft. Really, yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do, man. You figure I think they're gonna try and snag a quarterback mid rounds, like 2nd or 3rd round.
I think so.
So I guess that's more early rounds, but 3rd is where it starts being mid round.
Yeah, I guess so. But I
feel like you get someone who can like sit behind Geno and like have no pressure to start until Geno either gives you a reason to bench him or he gets hurt.
Yeah, like Geno's your guy.
Yeah, you got to roll forward with Geno next year. You don't want you got all this capital for the Russell Wilson trade. Use it to build your team and then get your quarterback.
Yeah,
Geno Smith showed that you have a solid enough team. Make your whole team stronger and get a project quarterback that can sit for a year or two, and then you feel comfortable rolling with them afterwards. Like that would be a great spot for one of these fringe guys we mentioned, like Hendon Hooker, Anthony Richardson. I don't think Stetson Bennett just because, Hendon Hooker's 25 too. So they're both, him and Stetson are older. So you probably don't want them to sit for a couple years.
Yeah.
But I would, if I'm a team that needs like a guy I'd feel comfortable going to off the bench as like a backup role, I'd like Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
He's been there, done that. I think he's a capable guy.
Yeah. I think he's career backup at best.
Yeah, no, most likely.
Yeah,
I don't.
most likely, but-
I think Stetson Bennett is a career backup fringe starter.
But
Like,
I could see him being better than Mitchell Trubisky.
yeah, I like, I like Stetson Bennett. I think he got way too much hate. Obviously, he's limited in what he can do for you at the quarterback position, but he's got plenty of talent. He's got enough talent to like feel comfortable going, all right, our quarterback's injured. We need our backup to go in. Stetson Bennett, you're our backup. You'd feel comfortable with that after he's kind of gotten some experience under his belt. Obviously, his rookie year, you're kind of like, crap, now we got to go to a rookie quarterback.
Well,
but
they were saying that when Brock Purdy came out, but
that's true. That's true. You never know what you never know what you're going to get. I think Stetson Bennett's got the mental toughness to make it in the NFL at some capacity.
Yeah.
Because I do think he handled a lot of criticism very well his 2 years as the full-time starter in Georgia.
You beat out JT Daniels for this.
Yeah, and I mean, think about how many times you had to hear about how Stetson Bennett wasn't good enough.
Or that he was
all he did
old
in
man.
Yeah. Well, that one's stupid, but
that was funny.
It's funny, but it's also dumb. At the same time, there's like everything is about how, he can't do this, he can't do that. And then what does he do against the teams that you think he's going to struggle against? He looks really good.
Yeah, he does. He
picked them apart.
Like that Alabama national championship. I don't want to mention the TCU one because that was just
we knew what that one was going to be.
I was hoping to be wrong.
Yeah, but
no offense. I have nothing against Georgia, like personally.
They've done it too now.
Yeah. It's just
I get it.
It's starting to become Alabama, and you're just like, you know what? I'm going to root for the underdog.
No, I get it. Like I said, I would have been, if they lost, I would have been upset, but like, hey, at least it would have been TCU and not someone else.
So,
but he looked good against Alabama last year. He turned it around. Like he figured out Ohio State and the matchup this year and got it together on defense or on his side of the ball on offense. So he's a guy who can overcome that stuff, and he's looked good against top level talent. So it's like, sure, they never asked him to throw the ball, 30 plus times a game, but when he has to throw the ball, he's usually pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the key to him is a good tight end. We saw it with Brock Bowers, like that was huge for him.
I love Brock Bowers.
Me too. I'm a big fan of him.
If Cole Kmet does not get re-signed,
give me Brock.
Yeah, give me Brock.
Give me Brock
go
right
and
now.
draft him. Like
I would love that.
I don't care if you take him in the first round. He is.
I'm a big fan of Brock Bowers. I think he's crazy talented. But let's talk Bears draft strategy, shall we?
So
my thing right here, first overall pick. Texans want to take a quarterback. The Colts probably want to take a quarterback. Those are, I think, your surefire teams that want a quarterback. I think the Bears are trading back. Personally, I would be looking to trade back. I would be targeting the Texans and saying, hey, like, do you want to jump up to 1? We'll swap picks. We'll make a smaller trade with the Texans, right? Swap picks.
Maybe pick up a second and probably
give us a second and give us a second round pick this year and like a third round pick next year.
Yeah,
and we'll swap picks.
Yeah,
I would be cool with that because then I wouldn't stay at number 2. I would be calling to other teams, right? Colts, you need a quarterback. There's only really, in my opinion, one viable option left in this range. Right? You don't want to settle for Will Levis. Personally, I wouldn't want to settle for Will Levis. But I'm not going to tell them what quarterback that is. I'm going to say, listen, you guys know that there's one guy left that's like the guy to get, and the other guy is not going to be very good. I would be calling them. Like, we got tons of teams that want to trade up for this pick.
And you absolutely fleece the Colts because they are willing to trade it all.
Yeah, and here's the deal, Colts. You guys have shit the bed with your quarterback situation for 3 straight years now. I know, Chris Ballard, that the pressure's on from Jim Irsay for you to do something. And
how has he not been fired, man? Like, to get it wrong on 3 different.
Yeah.
Well, Phillip Rivers. I think they
went 11-5 with Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think they lost in the divisional round.
I don't remember, but they made the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they lost to the Bills in the division round.
At the end of the day, Chris Ballard never went in on a young quarterback, and that's what hurts him. But I thought he got it right with Frank Reich. And then, obviously Carson Wentz was a total flop and you got fleeced in that trade.
Oh, yeah. Got cut from the Commanders.
Yeah, I know. He got cut. So you got it wrong with Matt Ryan, which I thought that was a solid trade at the time. Didn't expect Matt Ryan to just completely fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
So the Colts, Chris Ballard, your job is most likely on the line. You got to do something. What do you want? Let's make a trade. Let's swap picks. I want your first round pick next year, and I want a third round pick this year or something.
I would want their second.
Sure, second round pick. But give me something, right?
But yeah, like you're gonna need to get. If out of this draft, I want the Bears to have either 3 first rounders next year, or 2 this year and 2 next year. Like you should be able to trade back. I would probably say tell the Raiders, like the 9th overall pick, and
I would try and stay in the top 10 as best as I can.
And you should be able to have 4 first round picks.
Yeah. No, in
the next 2 years. Like,
yeah, you should be able to. So if you make the trade, right, and you jump back to 4 overall, and you make that trade, and you get a first round pick next year, and you get a second round pick this year, whatever, then yeah, I'd be calling a team like the Raiders. Or maybe at that point, I feel, you know what? I got myself an extra first round pick next year. I've stockpiled some second round picks this year. I now have 3 second round picks this year.
Yeah.
I've got a third round pick next year. I'm feeling comfortable at 4 overall. I'm still in play for one of the big defensive linemen, either Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. Maybe you sit there and take one of those 2 guys. Or you go, you know what? I'm going to be aggressive. I think I want to go after a wide receiver. I know I don't have to take a wide receiver at 4. Let's call it for the teams want to come up to 4th overall. Maybe I would be willing to fall back to the 10 to 15 range and be in play for a Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah.
Because I think he's going to be around the 12th overall.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, my draft crush of the year, I really like Jalen Hyatt. He's been amazing. I
would like him too.
Like, dude, he's a deep threat. He's fast. He gets separation.
I think he's got good size. I don't know exactly how tall he is, but
I think he's like around 6 foot. But if I'm going for a receiver, that's my guy. Like,
he's 6 foot.
Yeah.
I would like him too. The Bears have a lot of directions they can go in with this draft. But the thing is, with all of the strong showings at the edge rusher position in the combine, I would feel a little more comfortable if I lost out on Will Anderson Jr. Because I feel like they've shown that there's still a good amount of talent to still take if you miss him. Now, obviously, he's the guy you would want to get ideally because he has been there. He has shown it the most, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you can feel more comfortable passing on him to stockpile draft capital and still get a solid person. Yeah. And who knows? We don't know what free agency hasn't opened up yet. So obviously everything will change. We'll have to touch this again when free agency happens.
When I think middle of
15th, March 15th is the start of the new year. That's when a lot of cuts will become official, and that's when free agency will open up.
That is official.
So there's a lot. But I realistically think the Bears can trade back 2 to 3 times and still be in the top 10.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's a possibility. And I mean, let's not kid ourselves. This team has way more holes than just one. Like, you know, we need everything. So,
they have a lot of stuff to patch and kind of fix up. So
and just
one player isn't changing it, which is why draft capital is more important. Obviously, you want to try and get Will Anderson Jr. or Jalen Carter. But at the same time, those 2 guys, they're not your entire team.
Yeah, they're not franchise changing. Like,
well, I think they are, but they're not.
Well, I'm saying for the Bears. Like,
the Bears have 2. Yeah. I think those are franchise cornerstones, but you have to prioritize the draft capital to build more.
Yeah.
Like if you just get one of those 2 guys and then you're just average number of draft picks for the rest of this draft and next year's draft, well, it doesn't speed up your timeline or anything. Sure, you got a great defensive talent and everything, but you don't have enough resources draft-wise to build more young talent. So you need to stockpile picks, more importantly. I think you'll still be able to get a quality line edge rusher or interior D lineman.
Yeah.
Wherever they end up. I do think this will be, I know we said last year's draft was probably the most eventful in terms of trades back and forth, but I think this year's draft, because of the position the Bears are in, and I don't think they're going quarterback this year. Because of that position, there's so much movement that could happen.
Yeah, like you really don't know. Like,
yeah.
It's going to be crazy to see, and I'm excited. Like, Bears are in a good position right now, and
they control the cards control the cards of this draft, but you have to hit it out. Ryan Poles, you have to hit it out of the park. You have been gifted an opportunity in position that so many first-year GMs would kill for what you've gotten.
Yeah.
You've gotten a potential franchise quarterback. Fields needs to be a better passer. I think we can all agree that he needs to get better at passing the ball. But there's not all of it is solely on him, though. You know, you need the talent around you, but he needs to improve in that part of his game. But you still have a potential franchise quarterback who, if he's not your guy, you can still move on from next year. You're not tied to him long term or anything. So you're in a position where if he doesn't work out, here's the deal. You build around Fields. If he flops, you should have a strong team for a new quarterback.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Like, Caleb Williams is better than any draft prospect in this draft.
Yeah, I like him more than Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or Will Levis or Hendon Hooker, Anthony Richardson, or Stetson Bennett. I like him more than all those guys.
I'm not saying that, like, you know what? I want Fields to be the guy. Like,
Yeah,
I want him to work out.
it would be great if he was.
But you don't move on from him now. Like, if your team stinks, then guess what? You're going to have a top pick.
And if you did all this, if you have all this draft capital, you should be in play. The quarterback needy teams are getting fewer and fewer.
Yeah,
we're gonna reach a point, really, I think, where teams aren't really as neat. Like, they're not going to be quarterback needy, and so it'll be easier to trade up to get a quarterback.
Yeah,
soon enough, there's going to come a point where every team either has a guy that they're committed to on, like, their rookie contract that they have to see it through with, or an established veteran that they know they're going to win games with.
Yep.
And when it gets to that point, there's not going to be as much competition to trade up and get a quarterback, which should make it a little easier. So I don't know. I hope Justin Fields is the guy, but if you build a team around him and you have a lot of talent and he ends up not being very good at this year, like this next season, then if you decide we're going to move on from him, you should have a good team already ready to take the field for your young quarterback, whoever's your new guy to develop with, which you could say is the Pat Mahomes method. Good playoff team, ready to win games now, already capable of winning games now. Add in the young talent. Look at that. Look how much easier it is for him to develop and figure out how to play football at the NFL level.
Speaking of that, you know who his new OC is?
I know, Matt Nagy.
Did you see who they got as a QB coach?
No.
Alex Smith.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
That's cool. Good for Alex Smith.
He mentored Pat
yeah, that's a cool one. Yeah, Matt Nagy, offensive coordinator, and now everyone thinks he's going to be the the guy to take over for Reed whenever Reed retires.
No, he's not. Reed is calling all the plays.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I think, like, the new theory is that whenever Andy Reid retires, Nagy's just going to become the head coach. Good luck, Chiefs. I hope that happens. And if that happens, there goes Pat Mahomes' chance at beating Tom Brady at everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
Matt Nagy, let me tell you, Matt Nagy's not a head coach.
He's a good guy. No, he's a good guy. He's not a head coach.
Nor should he be an offensive coordinator.
He's a good guy, though.
He could be an offensive coordinator under Andy Reid.
I'll slam the coach, but I won't slam the guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I mean,
he just didn't pan out. Sucks is what it is. Good luck with you in Kansas City. I hope that you guys suck, though. Just saying. But
I do like Alex Smith, though, man.
Yeah, I'm a fan of I like that. Good for him, dude. Yeah. I'm happy for him. But I think that pretty much covers everything. We don't have a question of the week without Nick here. That's his thing. We don't take it from him.
We don't.
So that'll wrap up the episode. It was a shorter one, like we said, guys. Just to kind of not a ton going. Like, we wanted to just kind of keep it moving this week. Yeah. So if you like what you heard, please share with your friends, give us a like, follow us on our social media. All of that, Garage Talk Sports, easy to find. And yeah, guys, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.
See ya.
You mind if we